to have this afterwards. Yeah. So members, let's record because we have the other recordings on YouTube, on Majesty Training Associate YouTube. So you can always go and rewatch from there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joan. I'll just make one request. When it's 1:20, kindly give me a sign so that I can begin to wrap up and involve the audience in my communication.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Yes, so as mentioned, I am Dina Owundo, and I am an accountant by profession, accountant and auditor by profession. I started my career in audit for about 5 years, a few years ago, and then went into financial management and accounting, which I'm currently doing. I work with Uganda National Roads Authority, and I am the manager, accounts, which is like finance and accounts manager, handling the western and the southern regions of Uganda currently. On the other side of me, I am a Toastmaster, and Toastmasters is an avenue where I have been able to enhance my public speaking, which I'll also be sharing through my presentation. I'm the current president of Exceed Toastmasters Club. Exceed is one of the many clubs Uganda has, and one of the many clubs in Uganda as a Toastmasters Club. Public speaking, what is it and what is it not, or what it is and what it is not? Most times we think public speaking is just somebody that comes and stands up to speak, like a politician, get a platform, get an audience, a preacher, and a sheikh and the like, to come and speak. But what I've gotten to learn in the past few months of interacting with very great public speakers is that public speaking is just the ability to put across a message from one side to the other, from one person to another. Why do we call it public? Public means you're not just doing it in private. Private is where you're doing it to yourself. You're sharing a message to yourself. Public, you're getting out to speak. So that is the general idea of what speaking is all about. When we come to the thought and the question of, is it a science or is it an art? I'll give a brief explanation of what a science is or what an art is, just from the Webster Dictionary. Science is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of natural and social world following a systematic methodology based on evidence. Most times we think science is only what is in the laboratory, biology, science, chemistry, but anything where you're applying knowledge in a systematic and methodological way is what is termed as a science. An art, on the other hand, is something created from imagination, skills, beauty, impressions, feelings, and ideas. With that rough explanation, and also what we all usually think science and art is, and the definition of what public speaking is, I'd just love 1 or 2 people to type in the chat if they think public speaking is an art or a science. Just type this in the chat. Is it an art or a science? Okay, I see it's both from Lydia. Okay, so as we go on, we can keep on typing. What we think, art, both art, science. Thank you. I'll proceed with my presentation in that regard. So based on what we talk about public speaking, as I mentioned, it's just putting across a message from one party to another in the public, meaning you're out of the confines of speaking to yourself. We ask ourselves many times, why enhance public speaking skills? What is in it for me? And like I mentioned before, I wanted to bring out the fact that I am an accountant, a professional accountant, but I've recently embarked on a journey of public speaking. Now, many times, I want to bring it out and share the reason as to why I embarked on this journey. I realized that as we grow up and as we go through our schools, we learn the technical skills. We are taught how to be the doctor, the engineer, the accountant, and many of these things. And we focus so much of our energies as we learn in school on how to make this work. How am I going to balance my books? How am I going to treat a patient, build roads, and the like? When it comes down to the soft skills, Am I going to speak and share a message of what exactly I have done? Am I going to explain what is on my paper and share it with my boss? Am I going to communicate effectively and let my subordinate understand exactly what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to communicate? Even when it comes down to the home setting, am I speaking to my spouse and explaining exactly what I'm trying to say? My child, am I giving them the right feedback? That's where I come to what is in it for me. When you spend time to grow yourself as a public speaker or to grow this public speaking skill, you're maximizing your opportunities because when you speak and share exactly what you're trying to say, anybody around you is able to understand what you're saying and your opportunities grow broader and broader. You have unprecedented and unlimited visibility because you're sharing. This currently is an opportunity for me to have visibility in another space, which I have not been into. And so this came because as a result of public speaking, where I met Joanne. Elevator pitching. When you learn how to speak effectively, you can pitch yourself. You share your idea, not just in marketing as you try to sell a product, but as you sell who you are. Sometimes you go to a job interview and you're asked, who are you? If you do not have the right skills and the right way to sell yourself, you'll miss that opportunity to pitch yourself effectively. Thinking on your feet. At times you have just 1 minute or 2 minutes with that person you've been looking forward to spending a moment with. It could be a guy trying to date somebody, and you have just 1 or 2 minutes to say something. With public speaking skills, you think on your feet, you think fast, and you're able to sell that idea. Receiving and giving feedback. This cuts across. It could be to your child, to your subordinates, to your boss. How do you say it the right way, in a way that makes them get the point and not feel like they're being criticized or they're being stepped down on? Building leadership skills. When you speak effectively, you build your leadership skills because the more you can say something, the more you get opportunities to grow into leadership spaces. Practicing writing speeches. This goes to those who speak more and more often. You're able to write speeches as you learn the skills and you gain competitive advantage. Name it. I can go on and on to say why there's a need for us to enhance the skill of public speaking. I would just love to also give you some few ideas of what I think principles of better speaking, of bettering our public speaking can be. A synonym or an acronym, B Corp, is what I thought of when I was looking at the broader ideas and the broader principles we can incorporate into building our public speaking. B stands for brand. When everybody is unique and authentic, when you have a unique brand and you have a unique way that you're going to sell yourself, this helps you improve your skills. Sometimes we think that public speaking only works for those who are chatterboxes and say so much. And yet, if you speak softly and calmly, like myself, you can still put a message across. So when you know your brand, it's able to enable you build your skill. Ego. Sometimes we think that when we get an opportunity to speak, we have to come and throw it in people's faces how much we know, how educated we are, how skilled we are, which connections we have. But that has to be thrown out to be effective because somebody's looking out for what you have to say, but not exactly the so many collars and stones you want to throw across. Content. When you're going to speak, getting your content right is one of the best ways that you can prepare yourself because you're putting together what people want to listen to. Get your content right, get your details right. And then others, learn from others. We have a host of people that have gone before us. And so we don't have to be in spaces where we have to make the same mistakes they made. There's YouTube, there are so many social media avenues and platforms where a lot has been said already. So when we learn from others, you also better your public speaking and better your chance for presentation. Practice. This is the best way to gain confidence. Every time you have a chance to say something, if you get down to get your content right and practice it, you're most likely going to nail it. So be up, get your brand, be sure about what your brand is as an individual, throw ego out of the way, get your content right, Learn from others. There's a host of information out there. And practice. When you practice, you gain confidence so that when you come out to speak, you just say it right. Why do we fail at public speaking? There's so many reasons why we fail knowingly or unknowingly at public speaking. There are common misconceptions. We think public speaking is for HR, media relations, or media personalities, content creators, and we leave it to them. We leave those people to spend time learning and enhancing these skills. And for example, when you watch the news, you'll find that the journalists speak so well and they'll communicate a message. When they go to the roads and they say, engineer so-and-so, please tell us something about your project, you'll stutter miserably because you feel like this is something that is left to those who love to speak, and yet everybody needs to be able to put out content and share. Then fear. Research findings have it that of the top 10 fears in the world, number 2 is the fear of public speaking, and number 6 is the fear of death. People fear to speak much more than they fear to die, which is quite interesting. And many times we don't see this. But when you're given an opportunity to stand up and say something, that's when you realize that you stutter, you shake, you fear, because you're thinking, how will they see me? Am I going to say the right thing? Why have they picked me? Things like that. And this fear of public speaking most times inhibits your promotion to senior levels because 15% of the people lose out on this. And also, you lose out on getting paid more because you're not able to go and speak to the HR or speak to your supervisor and say what you think you deserve for the efforts that you're putting in to the work you are doing. So fear is a big reason as to why we fail at public speaking. Then at times we assume it's natural or unnatural. Natural in the sense that we think there are people who are always naturally good at speaking, or there are those who are unnatural and they can never do this. If you met me 2 years ago, you would not believe that I'm able to share with you what I'm sharing right now. And I was glad to see my mentor on the call. He's called Jesse Ainebiona. When he met me the first time, I think I had so many shivers and I could not say half of what I'm able to say today. So I assumed at the time that when I saw him and many other good people speak, they were naturally good and I was naturally not good or ungood. But it's a misconception that we have. And then the finances involved. At times we think it's so expensive to invest in ourselves to be able to speak or learn how to speak well. Now, with these areas, I believe that if each of us say this is something good and it's something that we would learn to do, we're able to turn these failures into, we're able to work on these failures and be able to speak better or practice and make our communication much better. The various avenues that we have to develop and enhance our communication and public speaking skills. Firstly, I would say there's taking up leadership roles. Wherever we are, we have leadership opportunities because in churches, in mosques, at homes, with our friends, at work, we have so many leadership opportunities. At times it's paid, at times it's not paid. But when you have this, each time you're leading or starting a meeting, you're forced to speak, and this is an avenue. Volunteer organizations, we have Rotary, we have the like, Toastmasters and the like. You're not paid to do this, but when you're there, you'll be forced to learn how to communicate better, and you take this opportunity to speak each time you're with people. And then Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a club that I am part of, and that's where Joan and I met, which gave me this opportunity to come and give me this avenue to come and develop myself, but also to share with you. I would love to then tell you a bit more about Toastmasters because it's one of the avenues I have tested and tried, and the other avenues as well. But I'll share more about this because it's something that I believe many of us will benefit from. Toastmasters is a worldwide organization. It was founded in 1924, and a number of people have registered to be in this club worldwide, 143 countries or more currently. And it's a place where people are empowered to become better leaders, better communicators, name it, and more confident. The experience of Toastmasters, how it works, is that you get hands-on learning. It's a hands-on learning environment. You're given an access to a mentor. You practice prepared and impromptu speeches where you think off the cuff. You have opportunities to lead because in different meetings, you have different roles that you take and you're able to lead in this. You receive feedback and learn how to give feedback to people in a way that makes them get the point and not just feel bad about themselves, which we often do as we communicate on a daily. We have opportunities to network. And as we look at the club mission, you provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. That alone spells out what Toastmasters is about and what it is for. Through the meetings, through the networking, through the fellowships that we have, we are able to empower ourselves in these skills, leadership, communication, and confidence. But I'll put more emphasis on the communication because that's what helps us get better as we speak publicly. Who uses Toastmasters? There are various clubs worldwide, different companies. In Uganda, we have a number of clubs as well. I'll just highlight a few. We have Kampala Sunrise, Kampala Toastmasters, Bukoto, Lubowa, Ntinda. UNRA has what we call Exceed, where I belong. Uganda breweries. Worldwide, we see Google, Toyota, Disney, name it. So it's a tried and tested organization which companies are benefiting from. Fortune 5,000 companies are benefiting from this because they are seeing their staff getting better and better as they go through these learning experiences. A glimpse into how Toastmasters works. We have what we call a pathways learning approach. There are different paths, and as you realize, the different areas that somebody
we are at 120. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. The different areas where somebody would want to benefit from and grow as an individual. So in Toastmasters, it's not limited to public speaking. As you'll see, there's leadership, dynamic leadership, coaching, humor, innovative planning, and more of this can be shared after the meeting or when we have a chance to directly engage. But I would love to emphasize that it's a self-paced program where you learn something, somebody else will learn another skill because you've picked up different avenues. And if you're to invest in yourself financially and opt for Toastmasters, sometimes people would choose to charter a club as themselves, which goes at $125 to register a club. And then a new member is charged $20 to join a club, but renewal is $65 every 6 months. So at $65 every 6 months, you can gain a wealth of knowledge and better yourself as a public speaker. More of this information will be shared after this meeting with Joan. I'd love to say that you can have many brilliant ideas, but if you cannot get them across, then these ideas will not go anywhere. So that is one of the reasons as to why I would advise you and I to continue bettering our public speaking and growing in this area. I would now like to open it up for a Q&A, which Joan, you can help check us through, see if anybody has raised a question. Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to ask questions. Members, feel free to type your question or unmute and ask. But we have a question from Rose, or she asks for help. She says she's got a presentation on research she has done about converting waste into a resource. And she's asking for tips. What tips can you give her so that I guess that presentation really causes the impact that you would like to see?
Research, converting waste into resource. Okay, thanks, Rose, for this question. What I would request is that we have a chat after this meeting so that we can get more of the detail of what you intend to present. But so now getting the content is the starting point, I would say. When you have the content of what exactly you're researching about, you're looking at waste. There's so much waste in society or waste around you. Now, if you want to convert this to a resource, when you get your content right, then you and I could sit and then draft how we present it better, if that's okay with you.
Okay. Yeah, she has another question. How can we brand ourselves?
How can we brand ourselves? Okay, I would go back to this slide where I talked about okay, branding oneself. When you're branding oneself, the first thing to think about is knowing that you're unique and you're authentic. Look at the authentic qualities you have from your personality, natural abilities, and the things that make you different from others. When you see this, then you're able to pick up the positives in yourself and then use it as a plus. That helps you sell out your brand. It makes you show that uniquely, I am a calm person, but as I'm calm, what stands out for me? I'm able to sell the calm side of people and say that despite of this, I can still communicate, or I can use it as a way to bring out messages differently, and you'll learn better in that way. That is what I would say about branding.
Thank you so much. I think what we can do also in the course of the year, we could also have a specific topic on branding, personal branding. We can also host somebody who can help us with that. But yeah, thank you. Let me see if there's any other question. Thank you, Dina, for the great insight on public speaking. How effectively can someone build confidence when asked to speak before a big crowd? Yes.
Yes, I was recently looking at something like this, and most times people say when you're going to speak in front of a big crowd, look at the top of their heads. But what I usually opt for is to say that get your content right at the start, get your content right, after which practice. When you practice and you have the content, you're not going to easily be shaken by anything. Someone may throw something down or may try to distract the audience or distract you, but you still know where you're going and you've practiced it. So you're not standing up to speak for the first time. You're saying something from memory. So that's one of the major things I would say can help you build your confidence.
Yeah. Okay. Preparation. Yeah, you need to prepare, otherwise you'll have to repair.
That's true.
The other question is, how can one manage or control nonverbal communication or habits?
There's a module that we have in Toastmasters called vocal variety and body language. Now, in this way, you're taught how to position yourself, how to make the right eye contact, how to put your hands and different things, what you need to emphasize a point. Now, this is a whole project. I may not get into the detail right now, but what I can say as an overview is that nonverbal communication accounts for almost 50% of the message you want to put across. Now, how you control your hands, how you control your emotions, your posture, your eye contact will do a lot in putting your message across. So think about it. If you're looking at somebody and they're trying to say something to you, but they're not looking at you, or they're turning their back towards you, or they keep on moving their jacket, or they're clenching their fingers, the message that you perceive as a person without even reading any detail on public speaking is probably the same message that someone else will perceive when you do the same. So try to think about your body posture as you speak. If you want to share a happy message, put a smile. It says a lot. It's a sad message. You can frown a little bit because you're trying to make somebody understand exactly what you're saying. So those are the few tips I could share about that. Yes.
Yeah. Rose has also asked, how can you make a scientific presentation more, I guess, humorous, interesting?
I would say if you're doing it online, then the way you present, you make your PowerPoint can make a difference. For example, you can put a few images that enhance what you're trying to say. Science, sometimes you're talking about something medicinal and you're putting drugs there, or it's an electric pole. It doesn't usually look exciting, but you can make it a little bit animated online to make it look good. Or you can have a way to share your background like I've done today, because in this way, someone is connecting with you, but they're seeing what you're trying to present at the back. It makes it a little bit different and exciting. However, if you're speaking face to face, the way you dress and the way you look has something about it, and the jokes that you crack. Try to engage people, crack a few jokes, engage a bit of humor, but let the people take part in this presentation. Ask a few questions, let them participate. It will be less monotonous in my view.
I also need to learn how to come in front of the presentation. I don't know how to do that, but yes, but it's nice that you have seen somebody do that. Yeah, so Christine also was asking, how can you speak spontaneously when you are chosen randomly. I think Dina has talked about being prepared, even when you go to a place where you just a participant or you're not going to read the same. It's always important to find out what that whole meeting or that whole gathering is about so that you have something to contribute. So I guess what she said around preparation is key. Prudencia is asking, does storytelling play a role in effective public speaking, and how can we incorporate storytelling? Yeah, so that's a question. Maybe there's the other question also for Margaret. How do you make audience follow you when you are presenting, since some can have diverted attention, which hurts sometimes?
I'll start with Margaret and then I go to Nyakato.
Yeah.
Most times people get distracted, and in this era, everybody's on social media, everyone is on their phone half the time that you're speaking. I think you can put a few ground rules before you present, which I didn't do today, but at the start of your presentation, maybe request them to put their phones aside, put their phones on silence. And then now, if you've laid that as a ground rule, I mean, we're adults, you're not going to punish someone for holding their phone, but the trick now will come in how interesting you are, how good you know your content, and how good your delivery is. So work on it both sides. Make sure that your delivery is on point. You're speaking about something that people really want to know. You have your humor right, you have your presentation right, and then you engage them through. Most times when somebody thinks you're going to pick them, they're going to follow through because they say, they're going to ask me a question that I have no idea about. And that's when they will keep interested. But lay the ground rules before you present, as well as working on your presentation and your delivery. To Nyakato, storytelling is a very, very good tip. And it's one of the projects in Toastmasters as well. Most times people will not forget a story. Tell somebody, I got an accident on my way to work and hurt my arm. Throughout the presentation, as you keep throwing in areas, they keep thinking, they're intrigued by what happened. Other than when you come and say, arms can be broken when a car knocks you. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, in
So
personal.
yes, when you get personal, you get a little bit vulnerable and share a story. Most times it sticks and the message will stick. So it's something I would encourage you and me to always incorporate when we're sharing a story. However brief your presentation is, or however brief you have a chance to share something, getting vulnerable and sharing a story always sticks. Yes.
Okay, having that hook at the beginning to capture the attention. So I guess that
Yes.
also applies to Rosie's request that how can I make something science interesting? I think it's to add in those little stories.
It
So take
does.
this science. Yes, we know it's the content, it's hard facts, but then can you also make it human by creating those little stories that can help? Yeah.
That's very true.
Okay. Let me see. I don't think there's any other question. The audience to follow you. Okay, I think that you already spoke about setting rules and all that. And yeah, yes, your
Yeah.
contacts. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dina, for this wonderful talk. We are just 1 minute past 1:30, so which is great because sometimes we pass a bit, but that is good. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We will have another personal development talk in May, and we will be communicating that topic. So for those who would like to join the WhatsApp group where we keep updated about what's happening in personal development, please join our WhatsApp group. Otherwise, if you're on email, we will keep on telling you when the next topic is coming. So I think it's a thank you from us here, and maybe a little more about what is coming up next in Majesty Training Associates. We have the teens and twins mentorship program. So we have this program every holiday. Our goal is to inspire the young generation to be more confident, focused, and all that. So every holiday we really have a session for them, and this covers the 9 to 19 years. We have two groups, so the 9 to 12, we call them the twins, and then the 13 to 19. So if you have children or siblings in that category, do reach out to us. But otherwise, it has really been a pleasure to host you. Please give us feedback. Huh? We also have a Q code now. Technology. Yeah. So you can give us feedback through that Q code, but otherwise we will share with you also other links that can help you do the needful. It has been a pleasure and to host you here on Majestic Training Associates. We love to build ourselves. We are personal projects, so we love to also help others as we build ourselves. So I hope you've had lunch. If you have had lunch, type 1. If you have not had lunch, type 2. So we know, because we know you have learned, but then the lunch part of it, that is on your side. Yeah. So dinner, 1, okay, oh dear, sorry. So next time arrange the lunch so that while we are saying lunch and learn, it's actually lunch and learn. You're learning, but you're also having the lunch. But yeah, dinner, maybe any closing remarks, any final words or tips that you want to share, then yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Once again, I just want to share my contact in case somebody would want to get in touch. I'll have a chance to share more about public speaking, about Toastmasters, and any other area that you'd be interested in. So my contact is there, and it's on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Off to lunch and off to work. We meet in May. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.